In November of 2025, I made my first $10,000 a month. This has unlocked the life of freedom that I always wanted when I was still working as a PE teacher. But after achieving this life of freedom, where I was able to travel to any place in the world, I can chill at the beach, and I could have camping trips late at night, I realized that what I always wanted wasn't what I needed, because total freedom leads to chaos. So the first time when I noticed this, that was all the way back, like 4 or 5 years ago, when I was still studying as a PE teacher. And before I even started my personal development journey, before I even thought about having an online business. And it was also, maybe it might have been the reason why I started my business and why I started this journey in the first place. Because what happened all of these years ago, well, COVID hit. And by that time I was still in college. It was my first or my second year, and basically everything went on lockdown. So first I needed to go to school, and I needed to do like an internship. So, but when COVID hit, like we couldn't go to school, we couldn't teach. So then we basically had online classes, but who really went to online classes? So this was my first taste of like total freedom. I had 0 responsibilities. I could do whatever I wanted for a pretty long time. So what started to happen is I started to do like the most stimulating things, of course. So I started to play like a lot of video games. You know, I talked a lot with friends. I also I chilled with friends outside, and also started smoking like a lot of weed. And that was basically like the only thing that I did: playing video games, chilling with friends, and smoking weed. And this, at first it was fun. Yes, maybe the first week, maybe the second week as well. But eventually what will start to happen is you will get used to the stimulation, and the stimulating thing, that will become your new norm. Let me sit here for a little bit. So the stimulating thing, it becomes the new norm. And eventually what started to happen is my mental state, my mental health went lower and lower and lower, and I was becoming more and more depressed. And that is like when I first realized, okay, like total freedom, like if you just don't have anything to do, then that like leads to chaos. But first, that was always what I wanted, because I always had this vision that, okay, I want to become rich. Why? So that I never have to work again, so that I can just chill at the beach, you know, in Thailand or Brazil, which I am at right now, and just don't do anything. But the freedom is not really what you want. The real thing that you want is autonomy. Autonomy in where to work, autonomy in when to work, autonomy in with who you work, and that is basically, and what to work on. That is the fourth. So because if you just don't do anything, you know, you don't contribute to society, then you will just feel like a total waste, basically. And that is what I started to notice here as well. Yeah, you know, chilling at the beach is fine, it's really nice, it's calming, it's relaxing, but only if you also do the work. Because if I'm just sitting here, you know, all day every day, and I am doing nothing but sitting at the beach, then this becomes normal as well. So it's always important to find something that is that you can do, like having a purpose. And if you have a purpose, then that is the most fulfilling thing there is. Freedom is not the most fulfilling thing there is. You know what is the most fulfilling thing? Autonomy. Because now you still have something to live for. You know, you're just not sitting all day, every day at the beach. And while it might be, it might be really nice and might be really tempting, but I am telling you, once you achieve a total life of freedom, you want to do something. Like, no matter what it is. But the thing is that you will then can choose what it is that you can do. Because right now the work that I do, I find it so unbelievably fulfilling. You know, I can just talk to people, I can coach people, I can literally change somebody's life. Because a lot of people are stuck in a 9-to-5 that they hate. And that 9-to-5 isn't paying the bills anymore. Because inflation, you know, everything goes, the prices go very high, but the salaries and the payouts, they don't really go up. So now you need to have 2 pretty good incomes to be able to pay the bills, and then you cannot save anything, you cannot achieve freedom like ever. That is not a nice way to live, and a lot of people are struggling with that. So right now what I'm helping people do is I am helping people to find their unfair advantage, like what is it that they are very good at. And that is also, like, if you find your purpose, that is the intersection of what you're good at. So what are your skills that you have? And a very good way to find out is what tasks seem effortless to you, but are difficult for other people, or what do you receive a lot of compliments about. These are very good signs to notice what you are good at, because oftentimes to you it's not obvious, because to you it's been normal all of this time. You know, maybe you were born with it and you never had struggles with it, so you don't see this as like a strength of yours, but it is a strength. So that is the first thing, what you're good at. The second is what are you deeply passionate about? Like, what tasks makes you forget about the time, for example, or what activities did you like to do as a child? You know, these questions, when you ask them yourself, it is a great sign of what you're deeply passionate about. And passion is so unbelievably important, because if you are just passionate about something, you can do that for basically like forever. You don't need motivation if you're passionate about something. Of course, in the beginning it is more difficult, because in the beginning you are passionate about like literally nothing, and that is completely normal. That happens to like everyone, because when you're just beginning, you know, you're not very good, and if you're not very good, you get little positive rewards, and when you get little positive rewards, then the whole process and the whole journey becomes like unenjoyable. But still, there are some things that you are more passionate about than something else. So that is the second thing. First thing, strength. Second thing, passion. The third is if it is like actually like a big problem in the world, because money, all that money is a value exchange. And like, so if we just deliver a lot of value to the market, then that means we can make a lot of money. Now, how do we create value? By alleviating pain. Because when you think about it, what do you spend the most amount of money on? It is basically to like alleviate pain. Like, for example, if you're thirsty, you're in pain. So what do you do to alleviate the pain? You buy a bottle of water, and then that pain is alleviated. Same with why a lot of people buy my mentorship, because their pain is very big, they're 9 to 5, and they want to get out of it. So how do we alleviate pain? Basically by solving problems. So if you can solve problems, then you're good and you can get a lot of money for it. And if you haven't solved any valuable problems, then good, because I didn't have that either when I was just starting out. When I was first being an educational creator, but I had a lot of problems. So if you have a goal and you cannot achieve that goal, why? Because of problems. So if you solve these problems one by one, then you become more and more credible, and you can help more and more people the more problems that you are solving. So when all of these three things are combined, you are very good at it, you are deeply passionate about it, and it is a big problem that the world needs solving, then you have a very high chance that you will find your purpose. And if you find that thing, then life will be so unbelievably good, because then you can just wake up, you're passionate about what you're doing, you're making an impact, you're changing the world, and you are able to make money for it, making a living for it. And then for me now, this whole entrepreneurship, it just feels like a game. Like whatever problems arises, good, because if there was no challenge, if there was no struggle, then it would be kind of boring, right? And a lot of people say, unpredictable, business is very unpredictable. Yes, it is, but that is why it is fun in the first place. Because imagine if you would know everything that would have happened to you, then what is the reason to live? What is the reason to experience life? Because imagine if from now on you go to movies, but all of these movies, exactly how it would end. Do you think it would be fun? No, the fun is in the surprise. The fun is in I don't know how this is going to turn around. Maybe there will be a huge plot twist, whoa, I wouldn't imagine that. And that is exactly the same thing that happens in business, but also in life in general. Life is very unpredictable. So but only because a 9 to 5, people say oh yeah, business is unpredictable, but look at the 9 to 5. You don't know whether your boss will fire you, first of all. You don't know whether something changes and the company goes bankrupt. These things can still happen. So yeah, of course, business is unpredictable. You have these highs and lows, but I think that is just what makes it fun. And when you can really do something that you're passionate about, so you're passionate about it, you're good at it, and you can make money from it, then that is perfect. So if I find somebody who is good at what they do, no matter what it is, and they are passionate about it, and usually it goes together, because if you're really passionate about it, you just do it a lot, and if you do it a lot, eventually you will get good at it. Then the only thing that's missing is you need to figure out how to make money from that. And that is exactly what I help these people with. So I can help these people in turning their passion into their income, and not having to work a 9 to 5 again, completely, it, no matter how big of a beginner they are, because I was such a big beginner in the first place. That is also why I emphasize with these people so much, because for the first 15 months of starting an online business, I haven't made any money. And that was a lot of pain because I was still balancing my 9 to 5. I didn't know when it would come, but for me there just was no other option. But I was 15 months in like suffering. It was pain. It was not fun. So all of these people who I am helping, like if they have limiting beliefs, I've had them too. I can help them. If they have fears, I had fears. Doubts, I had doubts. Certain bottlenecks that they could not get around, like how do you turn somebody who you know like into like a paying customer. Like the whole conversion model is very, very nuanced, and I just find so much joy in helping people with that. Because when I was still a teacher, a PE teacher for my 9 to 5, I was basically constantly not really helping people, or at least it didn't feel like that. Because yeah, like it was mandatory, you know, they had to do PE, and when you have to do something, it becomes like not fun. But all of these people who I'm helping now, who I'm mentoring now, I'm working with like 13 people, they invested a lot of money from it. So they are so committed. They are listening to me. If I tell to them, hey, maybe you can try this, then they will try it. Every time that they are like lost and confused, and I give them some insight that will give them clarity, you know, their eyes like light up, then that gives me so much fulfillment. That gives me way much more fulfillment than just being at the beach and doing nothing with my life. So yeah, if you just can find something that you're really passionate about and you're able to put a lot of time, like when you can really make an impact, I promise you that is the best way to live life. Not total freedom, not getting rich quick so you can spend the rest of the time like basically playing video games, smoking weed. Even though that is what I thought as well, that is not really what it is about. What it is about is like making an impact, doing what you love, having a purpose, and I think that is the best way to live. So yeah, if you want to find yours, maybe I can help you. You can join, you can click the link in the description. That is the link to my free community. In the free community there are weekly calls where you can like literally talk to me, ask me questions. It's very fun. There are like only 5 to 6 people showing up every time, so it's a very chill place to be. And the earlier you are, the better, because I'm not a millionaire or a billionaire yet, so that means you can get like a lot of personalized attention. And I also think that it's way better to learn from somebody who is just a couple of steps ahead of you than from somebody who might be like 50 steps ahead of you, because I have just managed to get all of this success. Like 1 year ago, I still had it monetized. It was about 11 months ago that I was able to get my first paying client for only $100 per month. And 8 months later, you know, I managed to get my first 10k month. And then a couple of months later, now I'm living like the life in Brazil, chilling at the beach. So yeah, success is very recent. My success, I still know what tactics, what methods are very effective. I still know the pains of being a beginner, what bottlenecks you have to overcome. So yeah, if that sounds interesting to you, click the link in the description. Thank you for watching. See you at the next one.